Hey friends, welcome back to a new Python tutorial. Now this time we're gonna learn how we can easily download images from the web. I'm gonna show you step by step how that works and also explain how it works. So let's do that. At first we need of course a path. The path is my local path where I want to save the image. In this case it's simply a folder on my desktop which is called test, which is this one here. And you can see that currently it's empty. So far so good. Next, we need an address to an image. In this case, I'm using Pixabay. Pixabay is a free site where you can download images, and I'm just using it here as an example. But you could also use, of course, your own sites if you want. But you see it's an URL, and it's referring to a cat image, and it's a JPEG file. And I can show you the URL itself. It looks like that. So it's a cat, which obviously looks a little bit tired. Okay. So how can we download this image now with Python? So what we need is, we need actually two modules. Or actually we only need one, but I will use two. Because I first want to make sure that my current file directory is this path here, this test folder. Just to make sure that I download the image into this folder and not on the standard folder where Python is installed. So that is why I import the OS module, so operating system. And I will also import the request library just to download the image. I know there are other libraries as well, so URL-lib, I think, and other ones, but I will go with the requests. That's the default one I use all the time. So let's import them, and we are good to go. We do not receive any errors. Just in case something is missing, you would have to install it either via pip or conda, even though at least from my point of view, I think that both libraries are available by default in Python, so there's nothing to install for you. So now let's download actually the image. But before we do this, I of course want to change the directory. So change dir means change directory into my path folder. So path, to spell it correctly, so make sure that I download the image itself in my test folder, so in here. I can also show you that we are in this folder simply by call os.get current working directory, like that. Now if I execute this, you'll see that now we are on the desktop here in the test folder, which is the empty folder I've shown you. And now we can actually get the image itself simply by calling the request. So let's say our response is equal to, and I'll say requests.get. It's a get command. By the way, if you're interested in that, of course, there are several commands you can use when you ask for data or want to send data to the internet. Then it would be a post request. There's also an update, a delete request, but in this case, we're going with the get request. Get is always for getting data. So for basically when you visit any kind of website, what you do is you download the data of the website just to see the end result. So this is what we do here. We download the image by simply call request.get. And we need now the pic, which is the image URL from the first line up there. And we can also check this by, let's say, response.statuscode. Status code allows us to specify whether we get a 200 response. This is good. That means that our request was successful. In case you get a 404 error, anything like that, this means that the request was not successful, and then you have to find out what the actual problem is. So the request was valid here, and now we can take a look at the response itself. So response.content, this is what the image currently looks like. So let's have a look, and we get a bytes file here with a lot of numbers and letters, but this is not really helpful to us, right? Because that's what the image actually looks like when it is transferred via the internet as a bytes file, but this is not what we want to have. We want to have actually a JPEG file or a PNG file, or at least an image, right? So let's first actually quickly check that this is also a bytes file, even if we can see it actually with the B here, but if we use the type command and put this inside, we will see that this is actually bytes. So now our goal is to write those bytes into a file. We can easily do this with a context manager. So we can say with open, and now we need to give it a name. Let's say cat, and of course need to put in quotes, cat.png or JPEG, was it right? JPEG, yeah, okay. So this is the file we want to create, and we need to make sure that we want to write in this file because the file itself does not exist. So we need to use write, and we also need to make sure that we tell Python here, or the context manager, that this is actually a bytes file. So we want to write binary files, which is why we need to put in WB. So W for write, B for binary. So, and then we can simply give it some kind of name. So F is common, so simply go with F for file, but you can name this whatever you like. And then you simply write into this name you have given here. So say f.write, and the thing we want to write is actually exactly the bytes file we have seen. So let's say response.content, like that. And yeah, that's it. That's all we need to do here. So just quick check here. This is empty, so far so good. And now we execute this. We see the execution is done. Went quite quickly, of course. It's only one image. And now if we take a look, we can see here's the cat image. And if I double click here and open it, we'll see that this is exactly the image from the web, right? And so we basically converted the bytes file into this image and saved it in this folder. And yeah, that's it. That's it for this video. So quite easy, I think, and you can use this for all the images you want. Just need to make sure that you have the URL and also specify where you want to download it. And sometimes a mistake or an error is that you forgot to put in the B here, for instance, because you want to make sure that you write it into a file. So use the W, but also make sure that it is a bytes file. So you need to make sure that you put in also the B here. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully that was interesting to you. If so, please consider subscribing to the channel. It would help a lot and also motivate me to create several videos for you. Okay, so that's it. Stay healthy and hopefully see you in the next one. Until then, best guys.